Well, we're certainly changing the atmosphere in the studio real quick, and we're delighted to have in the studio with us Nisha Jackson. Of course, she's certainly no stranger, heads up the Ventana Wellness Center, and you went to Africa back in March and April, made some friends, had a good time?
Had a great time. And I keep saying, if somebody said I could go back to Tanzania this afternoon, I would be on a plane and out of here.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
What were you doing there?
Well, when I went to Tanzania, I was able to work with an organization called WEECE. WEECE stands for Women's Education and Economic Center. And it's so wonderful because the one thing that was so powerful for me when I was there was to see how hard the women worked. I mean, it made such a huge impression on me because I think women work really hard here in the United States, right? But women in Africa are very different. They work from the minute they get up until they go to bed. I mean, very hard with very limited resources, as we know. But it was so much more, it made such a bigger impact on me than I thought it would, watching the women work. But also watching the women work in a situation by which they didn't have resources and they really didn't have a voice. And so I like the idea that I worked with somebody who helps women have a voice in Africa, teaches them how to be more independent so that we can try to avoid women getting married very early and having many, many children and then having to stay within the home and not having any kind of independence at all. The women in Tanzania are much like the women in the United States 150, 200 years ago.
Really?
Where they just really didn't have a voice. And I love that things are changing because of one really powerful woman that's with us today.
There's a picture on the screen where you were.
Yes.
Just below Kenya?
Yes.
Okay.
Northern Tanzania is where I was at.
All right.
And so the powerful woman that I worked with is actually here. Her first time in the United States. She's here visiting.
Thank you.
And this is Mama Mrema.
Welcome.
And she started this organization.
Really? How long you been here now?
I have almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Oh, well, welcome to the United States. Welcome to the Dove Radio and TV.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Tell us about it.
So this organization is an organization that started by Mama Mrema in Tanzania to help women to be able to find a vocation, find a business, find an outlet by which they could gain some independence and not have to be under the jurisdiction of marrying early and having just to stay home and be with the children. Because the problem is that so many women find themselves alone. Their husband becomes ill and passes away. Maybe their husband finds many other women to be with and they are not able to support themselves.
Wow.
This is a very tragic situation. About 60% of women in the Tanzania area are raped also, which they find themselves getting pregnant in those situations and on their own.
Wow.
And so this wonderful, powerful woman, Mama Mrema, started an organization in 1999 to take these women and educate them and provide what we call micro loans, small amounts of money so that they could start businesses as street vendors, raising cows, pigs, chickens, and selling their eggs, going to the market. So these women are becoming empowered to be able to take care of their families better. And it's an unbelievable organization and changing the lives of so many women in Africa.
How's it going?
It is going on well. The women are powerful now. They can also be self-sustained and helping their families, taking the children to school by paying school fees, and also being one of the contributor in the family. Before, the women didn't have voice, they didn't have anything to contribute in the family or in the community.
Wow. So how many people is she helping? How many people you got going?
Right now, I can say that I have more than 1,054 women who are the member.
Really?
Yes.
Where do you get the funds to do this?
Really, the women themselves
contribute back?
Contribute, and when sometimes we get volunteers from America, from Germany, but individual who feel pain as the way Nisha feel, and then they contribute, and this little money we give them as a seed money so that they continue doing the business.
Wow.
So they might have, let's take for instance, a woman would come and she would want to be a member of this group. So she could come and she would be provided a small amount of money, and she would have to tell her story. So she'd have to write a paper, this is why I need the money, this is my situation. They would present it to the group. It's called a VACOBA group.
Yes.
And
village means Village Community Bank
yes,
for women.
A community bank for women. So she would present the information to the group, and then the group would have to decide how much money should we allow this person to have, and is this a good idea for a business? So it's a legitimate business meeting that these women are having. It's so incredible. And then they will provide the small loan to the woman, and then she has a period of time by which she has to go out and actually do the business, collect the money, and report back to the group. So she has a responsibility to report back to the group, and there is interest on the money. So as the interest gets paid back to the group, that interest is amount of money that is able to provide somebody else a loan.
Yes.
So it's just a wonderful, she's just a business tycoon in Tanzania.
You're an entrepreneur, huh? Give us an idea of the type of businesses you're helping women. I realize a lot of it has to do with agriculture. Anything else?
Yeah, we do, apart from agricultural, the women, we teach them, we give them skills on tailoring.
Okay.
Some they do a salon.
Oh, salon.
Making
okay.
making hairs. Some keep poultries, chicken, pigs, cow, and street vendor.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow. And so they don't have to pay the principal back, but they pay interest.
Yes.
They pay interest.
And then the interest goes back in and then recycled.
Yeah.
And eventually the principal's paid back too. The entire loan is paid in full out of the proceeds that they make. But then they actually have a business, because these women have nothing. I mean, they have no money, they have no resources when they come to the organization initially for the loan. So that's just one aspect of what this organization does. I was also able to travel with Mama out to a couple of villages. She's completely transformed villages that are 50, 60, 100 miles away from the city and have no resources. They have, this is one of the organizations that, the villages that we went to, my daughter and I visited with Mama, and it is a long ways away from the actual city that we were staying in. And these people are on foot. There's no way that they can get to medical care. They can't get to a grocery store. They have to just 100% live off the land. And these are the most beautiful people in Ganjoni village. And she's been able to go in, and she opened up a medical clinic there that still needs to be supported financially. And also she built another house for the physicians and the nurses that will live up there for this village. And there's a school up there that she was able to help support also. So these are some of the other things that the organization has been able to fund in just helping different areas of Tanzania.
If somebody wants to get involved, can they from you? Or
there is a United States affiliate of this organization called WEECE, and it's WEECE.
WEECE, okay.
WEECE.org, WEECE.org.
Okay.
And you can go to that website and actually get more information about the organization and also about Mama, but that's the United States affiliate of the program.
How did you make the connection?
Well, the organization that I went to work with placed me with Mama because they knew about my skills here in the United States and thought that we would be a good match. And we were a great match.
And I was very happy to work with Nisha because her mind is, we can a little bit resemble.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We're doing the same thing, just different ways.
It just, I think it's hard for the Western mind to realize that people live on nothing. They actually exist on nothing, and then you give them something. And as they begin to grow in that whole area of enterprise, must be quite rewarding to watch.
Yes. I will say this, for 4 years, we had a drought. But since the women are very active, they can move. Before that, they were just sitting and waiting for the husbands to bring something. But now they are very active. They can go to another village, another district, and buy the food and bring, since they have money and daring to do something.
They can contribute
Yes.
back to the family, whereas
Yes.
before they couldn't.
No.
They didn't have a business, they didn't have any way to contribute to the family, and so the whole family suffered. They would starve, they wouldn't have any resources at all, and so the woman being active now, and also teaching her daughters
Yes.
to be able to have a vocation has been monumental in changing how the family functions within a drought or another economic crisis within the country.
Is it impacting the husbands at all?
Yes, I can say now, I can see a great change from the husband. From the beginning, the husbands were very worried that if the woman is empowered, then maybe they will lose their places, the men will lose the places or the power in the family. So just on the contrary, now the men understanding that if the wife understand or have a knowledge or education, even the money which the husband is bringing at home, it can be in a good budget. So
Wow.
now they work together.
I'm fascinated by this whole story. And again, reintroduce Mama and why she's here.
Yes. So when I was in Tanzania, March, April, I was there for about 3.5 weeks. I stayed with a large organization there that placed me with Mama Mrema, who is the founder of an organization called WEECE, W-E-E-C-E. WEECE.org is the website, and she's the founder of this organization to help women find a voice, find a vocation, find a skill that they can become a better contributor of their family and be able to sustain themselves and their family in conditions that aren't so good, especially conditions that they find themselves in often, which is drought. You know that most of the vocations or most of the businesses are agricultural derived, so
Right.
in a drought it's a disaster.
Right.
So Mama has started an organization that she provides microloans to these women that they can start businesses and be able to give back to their family, but also counseling for women that are struggling with losing family members to illness, and also husbands that have left the family and they're left to take care of children, or maybe multiple families to take care of. So the counseling part of it's very good. And additionally, she has started a school for women, young girls, and I was very fortunate to be able to work with many of these girls who I just loved so much, and teaching them skills of sewing and also teaching and cooking at a young age so that we could get to these women before they get into trouble, and also teaching them how to be independent and not having to get married so early. And that's been very helpful. This is a picture of the girls that I worked with at WEECE and at the school that Mama started for these young girls to teach them different vocations to become independent.
All right, so what are some of the medical issues that they're battling over there?
Well, the medical issues, there are so many medical issues and not great access to medical care, unfortunately. Some of the medical issues that are very, very prevalent is tuberculosis, unfortunately. There's still not enough, especially within the Maasai, enough vaccinations to prevent illness. Chickenpox is very common over there. Measles is very common. So it's just basic things that we take for granted here that they don't have access to.
And also malaria.
Malaria, of course, very common and a huge problem.
Wow.
So.
And while she's here, she's been getting a little medical attention. You're helping her with that?
Yes, well, her objective in coming here is not only to educate more people in the United States about this organization, but also to give her some rest, even though she's not resting today. Give her some rest because she is the hardest working woman in Tanzania and changing really the lives of women and children over there. And so she's here getting medical attention, and she has been seen at our office for her diabetes and blood pressure, and she's also being seen at the Medical Eye Center. Dr. Yuritso has been so wonderful to take her on as a patient, and he's actually done quite a bit of work in Africa himself.
Wow.
On a yearly basis. And they will be doing cataract surgery on her this week.
Wow.
And so she's really getting quite a bit of medical attention here in the Rogue Valley, and I'm so appreciative of everybody that has helped out with Mama's health here
that's
in the
wonderful.
Rogue Valley.
So what's this project?
So the other project, she has all these irons in the fire
You're
over
too
there.
busy. You need to rest.
Of course, now I'm resting for about 10 years. I've never having vacation.
10
now,
years?
Yes, since I started this organization, and now I'm feeling as if I'm in heaven. just for having time to rest.
Good for you.
So the other project that she actually spearheaded this year, I'll hold this up. This is the Maasai Choir. I had the chance of working with a Maasai when I was over there, Maasai doctor, for about 4 days. And she has started this project, and she was able to bring together a group of Maasai that have recorded this CD that's now available. You can go to littleladystudio.com, littleladystudio.com, and you can order this CD. This is the most wonderful sound of Swahili singers.
But there's the translation.
There's a translation also, so you can hear the music from the Maasai in Swahili, but it also has the translation into English.
Very good.
But it's wonderful, and it helps the Maasai as far as building homes. So she's very involved with the Maasai and helping to stop genital mutilation, which is very, very important over there.
Wow.
A huge problem and predominantly practiced still amongst the Maasai.
Really?
So her objective in that organization is to be able to educate the elders and the men of the Maasai why that's very dangerous to continue to perform those procedures on young girls, 10, 11, 12 years of age, and why it's not important and the medical complications of that. Especially as the girls become older and have babies, there's all sorts of medical complications if this is done at a young age. So she's very involved in that aspect of trying to get that stopped.
Are they receiving that information? Are they accepting it?
Yes, of course, because I pass through the elders, and this is my strategies. If we start with the young people, then it will end in vain. But through the elder people, so I have already managed to penetrate and having this access to put them together. Even the men, when men and the women doesn't sit together, or sharing or do whatever, maybe time for enjoyment or something socially. But now, by starting this, now I can see the impact, because of course the singing, they have to be together. And then when we are recording, they eat together, which it was not really being done.
Well, they didn't.
The men and women were separate.
Yes.
Oh, they didn't allow any of that, huh?
Right.
Even the women, men cannot eat in front of the women, but now they do.
Wow. So that's a cultural.
Very much
Yes.
so.
Wow. Very divided.
Yes.
So I would imagine that your organization is also breaking down those barriers of the men being sovereign and the women being subservient.
No, I have strategies, because I understand you cannot separate men and women. Before we were talking about women only.
Right.
But now we involve men, but not the majority. For example, in my organization, there's a men employed working there, and they are our ambassador to the village, to the community. And when we have the seminar also, we do the same, but we don't bring the majority, because then there will be the major speaker.
Wow. What
It
an
is
impact.
it is breaking down the barriers too, and I think that's been so important, because initially when she first started this, the men were very threatened.
Yes.
They thought they would lose their place in community, that they were here and women were below them. And but they soon realized that this is a way for the family to be more supported, and it helps them too.
All right. Do you have something going on tonight, Dan?
Yes, at Two Hawk Winery, right on the North Phoenix Road across
Right.
from Centennial Golf Course. She will be talking tonight, and anybody is welcome to come. We'll be talking more about the specific organizations and telling more stories about how women's lives are changed. And I'll be talking a little bit more about my experience there and working with the young girls. We'll have pictures and dessert and all sorts of things to munch on.
All right. That's the Two Hawk
tonight.
Winery tonight. What time?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
Two Hawk Winery across from Centennial Golf Course on North Phoenix.
How young do you start with girls to have them become independent?
Oh, the members are starting from 18, and we continue to receive members up to 65.
Whoa. Oh,
But in the school, they're as young as the girls in the school are as young as 15,
Yes.
14.
But we don't receive those one. Those one we give them just education.
Yes.
But we cannot give them loan.
Right.
because they don't have a place to do it, and sometimes they can move and then we can lose the money. Yes.
So but you do the business transaction 18 and up.
Yes. And
That's so
also,
fascinating.
the question you ask about the men, I can assure you, the men are very happy because some of them, they are the one who bring back the loans on behalf of their wife.
Oh,
They
really?
bring back the money, the
Yes.
principal.
Yes.
Wow. So you must have also people that go out and check on them, make sure
Yes,
they're doing.
of course.
Yeah.
I go.
You go.
And some, yes.
Mama
She's
coming.
very careful.
Yes, I follow up, and also the accountant and some other groups. But the challenges we have is the transport to go to the village. You see it. So the volunteers, when they come, really they are really supportive because they help us to hire the car to take them there. But for us, we get a privilege to do our own work there also.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They really need a van is what they need. They need some kind of a transportation. That's the one thing that they're lacking. There is no organizational van or transportation to get into the village. When I went up to the village with her, which took us several hours to get to, we rented a very small taxi. We stopped and bought huge bags of rice to take up to the village. One large bag of rice that cost me $40 to take to the village fed the entire village for a week. And so, I mean, it's just amazing. But if we had a van or some kind of transportation, it would be much better. So those are some of the things that we'll be working towards in the next couple of years to try to provide that for the organization.
Wow, fascinating. How did it change you?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you know, it's strange for me to think about all the luxuries that we have here. You know, my life here is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But I would go back there in a second. And, you know, it's rough there.
Yeah,
The conditions that we lived in were okay.
Puts priorities into perspective.
But it really does. You know, I had somebody tell me when I was there, you know, Nisha, you have everything in the United States and hardly any time to enjoy it. We have nothing here and all the time in the world to enjoy it. So it's all about trying to find that special place of being in the present and really being, you know, where you are right now and not always so busy and crazy that you can't enjoy your life the way it is. And giving back. There's something that empowers you when you give back to others. This altruism is so important for your health even.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you so much. I enjoy being with you.
Yeah.
And also, I enjoy to be here in USA and to see the people, and especially the people like you and Nisha who can understand in our life how it is going.
Well, thank you for sharing. And again, tonight, 7 o'clock, Two Hawks Winery. They're on North Phoenix Road, 7 o'clock. If you want to hear more from Mama and Nisha about the program and be a part of it, they'll be there. Thank you both for coming and being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.